One Battle After Another is co-produced, written, and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of those guys, or one of those the filmmaker, one of like the best filmmakers. He has his own unique style when it comes to directing and filmmaking. Um, I haven't seen any of his movies except Licorice Pizza. That is the only Paul Thomas Anderson movie that I have seen, Licorice Pizza, and I love that movie. I didn't review it here on my YouTube channel. Maybe one day in the future I will. But he's directed like bunch of others that are on my. I made a list. They're all on my watch list. But maybe one day if I have free time, free time, and maybe one day I'll just binge watch nothing but Paul Thomas Anderson movies. But anyway, I don't know anything about this movie except it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall. I mean, those are some big names. Those are some big names attached to this film. But based on the trailers and from the trailers, it follows an ex-revolutionary who is forced back into his former combatant lifestyle when he and his daughter become pursued by a corrupt military officer. So Paul Thomas Anderson had wanted to um, adapt the novel, adapt the novel Vinland, which is what this movie is based on. It's inspired, well, it's not based, but it's inspired by the 1990 novel Vinland by Thomas Sinkon. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced his last name. For years, he really wanted, Paul Thomas, Anderson really wanted to adapt the novel Vinland for years into a movie, and eventually, incorporated several of his own stories into the book's narratives. So, and filming took place in California and was shot using VistaVision, making it one of the first films to use the format for principal photography since the 1960s, which is which is like an insane fact. That's an insane fun fact for all of you guys. Here's another fun fact about this movie. The movie is, the budget for the movie is between 130 $30 million to 175 million. It is the most expensive film of Anderson's entire career, which is insane because this movie is incredible, ladies and gentlemen. It's like right up there with movies such as Weapons and Sinners. This is one of the best movies of this year, ladies and gentlemen, and it's unfortunate that I did not see this movie in theaters. It's unfortunate I didn't see this movie in theaters, but I rented it. But recently I rented it, and I sat down and I watched it at home, and I was just floored. I was just engaged, and I was amazed at what I saw. Like I said, Licorice Pizza is the only movie from Paul Thomas Anderson that I've actually seen. I haven't seen all of his movies, of his past movies, but I love the fuck out of that movie. Licorice Pizza. That's a great movie. Um, I think this might be better. Yeah, this movie is better. I will say that this movie is incredibly better than Licorice Pizza, but I don't know, like Licorice Pizza, there are some, dramatic and emotional moments, and a lot, like a shit ton of character development in that movie. Like I said, I don't want to get into it, into anything. Maybe one day I'll do a review for Licorice Pizza. But anyway, yeah, this movie is just incredible, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the best movies of this year. It's an epic. The best way I can describe it's like an epic sort of like adventure, with just like awe-inspiring, action set pieces, and it's like one battle after another. This film is Paul Thomas Anderson's the most entertaining film yet. It's the most entertaining film. From what I heard, it's one of his most entertaining film yet. But I gotta see I gotta see his other films before I make like any judgment. But because it's only Licorice Pizza, which is it's more of a drama movie. It's like a romantic drama movie, not like not like not the way that you think, not the way that you think. But this is probably better than that. It's Paul Thomas Anderson's, like, it's so entertaining. It's the most entertaining I've felt in a movie theater, um, and one of his most theatrically rich, experience that I had. Oh my God, Benicio del Toro was great, but God damn it, Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. It's Leo we're talking about. Everything he does is just incredible, and I it is incredible, and his performance in this movie is just hilarious. It's insanely He's insanely hilarious in this movie, and I'm just latched onto his performance and his character in this film. It's a timeless. The best way I can describe this movie is like it's a timeless story of like resistance. One that playfully weaves together influences, into as this like true story, and it has so many cinematic, depictions of rebellion, and a remarkably, it's remarkably like fun, and a moving piece of art, of work about human beings, and who are like all these human beings, all these characters that are caught in this like well in this battle, in this battle. um yeah, like it's amazing. There's so much fierce unconditional love between the main these the main two, Leonardo DiCaprio and his love interest in this movie. But yeah, like I was there for it, and it's a story about like good and evil, violence and power, inalienable rights, and the fight against injustice. Um, not like holding up signs and protestings, and there's no agendas, is what I'm saying. But like, it's a furious film. It's richly engaging, and it's very poetic, in a way. There's a lot of action and suspense, and it's essentially a thriller, with these ideas that all collapse into each other. You know, um, like, it's such a shame that I did not see this movie in theaters, because I should have. Like, oh my God, I missed out on so much. Um, it's I also I really did enjoy the score by Johnny Greenwood. He did a great job with the score, with composing the score for this film. And it really does, contrast, or like parallel what the narrative of the story in the film, and what's going on, the themes. I love all the performances from the cast. I mean, they all were insanely, like I said, Leonardo DiCaprio was insanely hilarious, and just outright like crazy and insane, and I love him. I love him. Um, Benicio del Toro was more of like a supporting. I love Benicio del Toro, but I love Benicio del Toro, but Sean Penn is like his performance is just I just could not take I just could not take my eyes off of Sean Penn, and he was incredible. He and Leo were both incredible in this film. They were their performances were very addictive. I just could not stop listening to what they're like all the shit that they're saying and the performances that they're giving. Um, but like I haven't seen Sean Penn in a long ass time, but this is probably his best working years. Um, but yeah, Sean Penn really did give a brilliant performance of Cole Villainly and that is just incredible. Um, but and I do love Leonardo DiCaprio who plays Bob, this sweetheart father who rather than like this buffoon, this idiot. He The best way I can describe Leonardo DiCaprio's character in this film is like he's kind of like a like this worn out anti-hero, you know, who has this year-long fight back towards against like the relentlessness of the world. um but yeah, like i I just can't stop talking about it. Yeah. There are some controversies here, but I don't want to get into it unless I want to get canceled. But there are some, there are some controversies that I read like someone I read like a review, one negative review for this film, and they were explaining why they didn't like it, and they were comparing it to real life politics, and I do not want to get into it. And yeah, I was reading their comment, and let's just say I 100% disagree. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I just don't want to get into politics here on my YouTube channel. I just want to stay out of it. I don't want to get canceled, and I don't want to get shot. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say for one battle after another. Now now I really want to watch. Now I'm not, I won't lie. Like now I'm thinking about Paul Thomas Anderson. I just looked up like all the movies that his filmography, all the movies that he's directed, and I kind of want to. I made a watch list, and I kind of want to binge watch all of his movies. Um, I put together the list. Maybe one day in the future, I'll get around and sit down, watch all of his movies, and tell you guys what think about them. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say for one battle after another. This is by far one of the best movies of this year. I'm gonna add it to my top 10 list. I can definitely see it. I mean, we got like a month and a half. I mean, we got Avatar, we got Wicked for Good coming out this weekend. We got Zootopia 2, which has potential to be great. Those and then we next month we got, Avatar. So we've got some the year isn't over just yet, but this is right up there. This is right on my like one of the best movies of this year. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you everyone for taking time to listen to my review, my thoughts. Please like and subscribe. Definitely subscribe because that would help me and my YouTube channel out a lot. I love you guys. I appreciate your support. And yeah, that's all I have to say. And I will see you in my next video. Peace.